This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody, welcome to Josh Has Autism.
Hello.
So happy that we're back at it, Josh. Last time we did this, you weren't with me.
Yeah.
Because you didn't feel well.
Yeah.
And then another time, do you know we missed a week entirely?
We did?
Yes. So many issues because you got hurt, I got hurt, and we were in Mercury retrograde. And things just kind of don't work sometimes when that's the case. We'll blame it on Mercury anyway.
Oh. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Bless you.
Oh, wow.
You only sneeze in ones.
Huh?
You sneeze one time. When you sneeze, a lot of times you sneeze one time.
Usually it's twos.
There's the second one.
Excuse me, you sneeze in threes.
I sneeze in threes. You sneeze in twos.
Yeah.
It's weird how it works that way.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. So,
Ow.
it hurt.
Yeah, now my elbows hurt.
It's so weird that your elbows hurt when you sneeze.
Yeah.
I don't know. If anybody knows why that happens, every single time Josh sneezes, his elbows hurt.
Yeah, and it's not even like a sharp pain or anything like that. It's just an ache. Just that's right there in my elbows.
How long does it last?
It's fading away now.
Okay. I don't understand it, but if somebody out there does, please let us know. Please let us know. It's just one of those things. It's always been that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it just is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So anyway, we missed one because of everything just kind of went haywire.
Yeah.
What I want to talk to you about today is you got injured at Walmart.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that in detail. Then I got injured going to a doctor's appointment with you.
Which I find hilarious. You were going to my doctor's appointment, which was, by the way, a psychiatrist appointment. Not a psychiatrist, a TMS appointment.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you got hurt going in.
Yes. Yes. And so then I had to go get stitches.
Yes.
And, right. So it was just a crazy time. So, but anyway, the technical stuff, and what I didn't do is what I usually do, is if things just kind of build up and there's just so much and we can't do a podcast, I usually say something about it. But I missed it. I didn't even put out there, hey, we're not... we're
That's
recovering.
why Richard texted me, asking if everything was all right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because
right.
Richard's one of the guys who...
He's been on the podcast here before. We're going to have him back on again because he's just an amazing person.
Yeah.
And I really want him to talk. He's successful in work life. He's married, but he's successful in his work life. I really wanted him to share with us what he does.
Yeah.
And how he got to that point. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that he checked on you. Yeah. But yeah, it just got we got overloaded here, and visits to the ER and recovering and and so anyway. So what happened? I'm going to talk to you about what happened to you at Walmart.
Okay.
Okay, so you go to the store for me. We try to do that on a regular basis. And we kind of live in the middle of two different stores.
Two different Walmarts, yeah.
Yes. There's also a Kroger, but you don't really like going into Kroger. You prefer going to Walmart, I think probably because you know where stuff is usually when they don't decide to flip the whole store around. And it's something that we do to get you out on your own, making decisions and going through that process. And you do really well when you're shopping if you have a list.
Oh my gosh, the list is mandatory.
Right.
Because otherwise I will be forgetting things left and right.
Mm-hmm.
I will be getting things that aren't right. I will be absolutely overwhelmed trying to remember what it is that I needed to get.
Well, not only do you need a list, because that's helpful for you, but you need the list to be specific.
Yes.
So, for now, you guys drink milk.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys drink whole milk.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time when I would just get 2%.
Yeah.
I don't drink milk. I drink almond milk,
Mm-hmm.
coconut milk, stuff like that. But so anyway, my point is that I don't have to. If milk is on the list now, you've done it enough times that you know that it's whole milk.
Right. Unless it's specified to be your kind of milk.
Then it's almond milk that's written down, or
Yeah.
coconut milk, whichever one I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But there's also details about that can trip you up as well.
Like vanilla or chocolate or whatever.
Or
for your...
sweetened. Yeah, because I like it to be unsweetened.
Mm-hmm.
And unless I specify that. So what's helpful is that if we talk about it, I go down the list with you.
Yeah.
I talk about it with you. And then it's written down in detail.
Yes.
And then you're really good and very capable of getting the things that are on the list.
Right.
You've gotten comfortable.
And there's things that are generic almost, like where you could write down water.
Right.
I know to get a case of water.
Mm-hmm. Correct. That's interesting, yes, because I do not write a case of water. I just write water.
Yeah.
That was hard for me to say, because I went to speech class till I was in 7th grade to say the letter R. So...
you would be horrible as a pirate.
The O. Yeah, for sure. So you were going on one of those trips, and I'll say this...
Before we move on to that,
yeah,
going back to the water part,
mm-hmm.
One thing that I've learned is to try and get the best deal for the least amount of money.
Correct. Which the process of that has cost us quite a bit of money.
Yeah. But I've learned.
Yes. Yeah.
One of the things at Walmart that's really helpful
mm-hmm.
is that they put the
price per unit.
Mm-hmm. Like per ounce or whatever,
mm-hmm.
beside the actual price,
mm-hmm.
so that, let's say I'm looking at a case of water that has 40 in it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it's like 8 cents per whatever, versus a 32 pack of water that is 7.2 cents.
Mm-hmm.
I know which one I need to get because 32 is still a lot of water,
mm-hmm.
but it's cheaper.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we started that with you when you were little.
Yeah.
Very, very little. I don't even know if you remember that. But I would take you shopping,
mm-hmm.
and sometimes you weren't okay shopping.
Yeah.
And because can be a very crazy...
Yeah.
So much stimulation going on all at once. And,
yeah.
But yeah, so from the time you were little, we would go and talk about what you look for when you're
mm-hmm. shopping,
that how you shop, that if it's methodical, you get it, the same way every time, you're more apt to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And you're more apt to get the things that are on your list.
Yeah.
Right. So at this point, you have a list, you leave the house, you drive.
Yes.
And we do this on purpose. We send you by yourself on purpose because it's good for you to do it.
Yeah.
And so this time you went, and water, you were just talking about water. It was on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tell everybody what happened.
So first off, whenever I finally found the water, because it's in a weird place
mm-hmm.
at this Walmart.
Mm-hmm. Makes me crazy.
There was actually a group of 3 associates there, Walmart associates, that were just talking to each other and stuff like that. And so I had to ask them, hey, can I get here real quick? So, yeah, and then they left the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately after that happened, I'm picking up the case of water that's on the very...
They put it on a wooden pallet.
The wooden pallet is on the floor.
Correct.
And I'm picking one up that's directly on the pallet.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm moving back and up with this case of water,
mm-hmm. lifting it up,
mm-hmm. and pulling back out from underneath the alcove thing.
Mm-hmm.
The next tower of water that was behind it fell over onto me.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily it didn't hit my head.
Right.
But it did land on the case of water I was picking up and
mm-hmm.
my forearms,
mm-hmm.
which pulled something in my back, I think.
Mm-hmm. The ER doctor said that it did.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was... I was hoping somebody was there that could see it, because then I could ask them to please get an associate for me, because I knew that I was in a lot of pain,
mm-hmm.
and that they needed to know that this had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I called you
mm-hmm.
and let you know what was going on,
mm-hmm.
and
I immediately came to where you were, and we're, 3 miles from the store.
Yeah.
So I was there pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
Well, I just have to say that I'm pretty impressed that that you knew what to do. That you knew that somebody needed to know that, and there were cases of water all over the floor.
Yeah.
And they got you to somebody. They got you to a chair so you could sit.
Well, let me continue with what happened then.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go out of the. Is that called an aisle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had to go out of the aisle to find an associate,
mm-hmm.
because I had been there waiting for about 3 minutes or so,
mm-hmm.
after I had called you.
Yeah.
And I finally was like, I need to go find someone.
Right.
As much as this hurts, I need to find someone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found an associate who had just graduated high school.
Oh.
So congratulations to her.
Right.
But she was doing one of the quick pickup carts.
Okay.
And
so she's shopping for someone.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I waved her down. One of the other shoppers like, "Are you talking to me?"
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, like with the point to themselves and everything like that, and like looking back and forth and stuff. And I'm like, "No, I need the associate." And so the associate comes over, and she saw what had happened. She cleaned up a little bit. Like, she picked up some of the waters, and I told her I needed one of these cases of water.
Mm. So did she get somebody for you that at that point then that could help you?
She I'll get to that. I know. I need to hurry up, but I'm getting to it. So she helped me get that into the cart, and she's like, "I need to bring you to a higher up associate."
Mm-hmm.
And so she said, "Can you follow me with your cart?" I said, "I don't think I can, but I'll try." So I'm pushing this cart, and it's hurting so bad. And we finally make it to the front of the store. And she finds one of the higher ups,
mm-hmm.
and they start taking my statement and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And about that time is when you showed up.
Right. So Do you know that? Did you know that you didn't have to push the cart? That you could, that there was another way to do it, or at the time did you just do what she said for you to do?
I just did what she said for me to do.
Okay. So in the future,
Mm-hmm.
if you're in a situation and something is hurting you like that, you don't have to continue doing that thing that's hurting just because somebody else suggested that.
Okay.
In that situation, they
Right.
would have been okay with you leaving the cart where it was.
Okay.
I know that normally when we go shopping, that's not what we do.
Right.
We just don't leave our stuff. And,
Right.
in this situation, your well-being is more important than where
Right.
that basket is left.
Right. And I know that the higher up even mentioned something along those lines that that I should not have been moved from the location, and that nothing should have been moved prior to pictures being taken.
Right.
So the associate who helped me did what she thought was best with what she knew to do,
Right.
which admittedly wasn't the right thing according to company policy, but she didn't know the company policy for that.
Mm-hmm.
So she tried to do the best that she could.
Right.
And I applaud her for that.
Sure. Sure. So this was a very difficult event for you to go through because, first of all, you were in extreme pain. And,
Yeah.
and this was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you're still in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So I want to know, because I'm very, very proud of you for being able to communicate and to be able to stay in the situation without being so overwhelmed. I say that outwardly, but what were you feeling as all this was happening? Because when you feel pain, it's my understanding that when you feel pain, there are other levels at work for you and somebody that's on the spectrum than if those that don't have autism.
Right.
So I'm just wondering what you were experiencing. If you need me to ask you specific questions, I will.
Okay. I might need you to.
Okay.
But I'll try to. I'll try to do it to begin with.
Okay.
I remember my first thought was, well, this sucks. But I was in a lot of pain. I was aggravated. Not necessarily with the fact that it happened. Well, yes, with the fact that it happened, but that it happened to me too. So that was upsetting.
Right.
Yeah. Could you please help me?
Sure. So, what you've worked very hard in your life to be able to do is to handle yourself in different kind of situations that come up, surprise situations that come up. And in this one, I think you did a fantastic job. So you were out on your own. You drove. You got there. You were doing what you were needing to do, and this happened. The fact that you've grown so much, the fact that you're able to know that you need to talk to somebody, is huge. I know that a big chunk of your life, that's what you've been told too, is that if you find yourself in a situation and you don't know what to do, ask for help.
Yeah.
And were they nice to you?
They were absolutely nice to me, yeah.
Good.
They took my statement and were really nice about it and everything. They got me a chair so I could actually sit down in. And
did you feel were you anxious?
A little bit, yeah.
Were you able to listen to what you were being asked?
Yes.
Were you able to express yourself in the way that you wanted to?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Very, very good.
Yeah.
And when I got there, you were already sitting down, like you said, in that chair, and they were finishing up.
Yes.
With some things. And so the manager, the store manager, walked out with us to get you to the car.
Yeah.
We did that.
There was one other thing.
Okay.
After he had gotten my statement, he went over it all over again and had me sign the thing saying that this statement is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was wary about that, and to be honest.
Okay.
Because I've heard of people signing things right after an injury, and then it's not what they thought they were signing. Right.
So probably what you're thinking about is that after an accident like that, at a store, there's always going to be what this was. It was an incident report, an accident report, and then they send it to their people that are not at the store, but they do review claims.
Right.
And so that person I talked to on your behalf about what happened and what you were going to do. Now, the thing that wasn't accurate is that manager said that their claims person would be in touch with us to guide us to
a doctor.
To a doctor.
Yeah.
Well, then when the claims person called, said that's not what happens. So we went to the emergency room.
Yeah, because I was still in a lot of pain.
You were still in a lot of pain. So, all right. So that's probably what you're talking about. To finish that thought, is that you're right. You want to be careful what you sign. Signing a statement, as long as what you said was what you believe happened, then it's okay for you to sign that at that point. What you're talking about is you don't want to sign something saying, yes, I'm fine, everything's great, when it's not.
Right.
And you also don't want to sign something too soon, because like for right now, you're not going to sign off on this because you're still in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And we'll give it a few more days, but we'll go back to the doctor if it doesn't ease up.
Right.
So we went to the emergency room. Is there anything you want to say about what we were just talking about first?
No, it's okay.
So we went to the emergency room, and I know that you looked very uncomfortable.
There was something.
What?
One of the people who were helping me out, one of the other associates who was there to keep an eye on me to make sure I was okay, offered me a bottle of water.
Oh, and you thought that was funny.
I told him, I think I've had enough of water for today.
So you had a sense of humor in the midst of all that. This is awesome. Give me 5. Ouch. Yeah, very cool. So we went to the ER, and you were not okay there.
Right.
You seemed to me to be very uncomfortable and agitated.
Yes.
And here's what I saw, and you can elaborate on this, please. But I noticed that it seemed like it was too bright for you. It seemed like there was too much going on, too much shuffling around of things, too many strange noises, because you just were kind of not... You seemed like you were on overload. You were...
I was in a lot of pain. I was being forced to sit in a chair that was very uncomfortable to begin with. And with the back pain I was having, it was just horrendous to sit in it. I wanted to be able to read.
Because that's comforting to you.
Yes, and I couldn't. And because I was just getting distracted by the TV that was there, that was on a hospital show of all things.
Yeah.
And it
people moving around.
There wasn't even that many people there that were out in the waiting room. It was
the ER door opening, somebody coming out, and then somebody going back in to the back.
Yes.
Right.
And we were there for what, an hour and a half? In the waiting room?
At least.
And we finally got up and asked them, hey, how soon until we can see the doctor? And they said, it'll be at least another hour.
Right. So we were there for a long time. You went back in, you got your blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But what I'm wondering about is, how did you manage to make it through with all of the sensory overload that you were experiencing?
I tried to focus on the future of me being okay.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I tried to not focus on the pain. I tried to not... Which is very difficult, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I ended up... I just couldn't do it any longer. I was just in too much pain, and it would have been too long of a wait to be able to get the help that I needed. And the chairs were just... Everything was just too much.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up being that we went home and came back the next day.
Right.
Because there was an hour-long wait before I would even be seen by the doctor. And I couldn't deal with that. Right.
Mm-hmm. You got that change in your face, and you got that change in your eyes that happens. And it was not just the pain that you were in. It was the fact that you were getting so agitated sitting there. It seemed like from all the things that you were taking in.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked to them. They said, if you come back first thing in the morning, we can get you back faster.
Yes.
And they kept your papers. And so that's what we did.
Yeah.
And then they saw you much faster. What's interesting is that they went to... you're a grown man, so they talked to you because you're a grown man. They talked to you.
Yeah.
And when the nurse came back from the ER, back to the waiting room, she called you and I started going with you. And she said, because of COVID, you can't go back. And the guy that had been helping you the day before and that morning said to her, she can go back. He's got autism, and he would like for her to be with him. And she was apologized, which she didn't need to, because but then so I went back with you.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess my point is this, that it happens a lot of times. You're grown.
Yeah.
People talk to you.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just stand back to encourage you to answer for yourself and do the things that you need to do for yourself.
Right.
There are times where you go,
and I point.
you point to me.
Yeah. We both literally just pointed.
Yeah, we both did that. Yeah, because it happens often, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, went back and you had x-rays and found something out about yourself that none of us knew.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is like a something that I think you're proud of.
Yeah, I have an extra vertebrae in my neck. Or at least my back or whatever.
Thoracic
A T13.
Yes. There's only, typically a person has, it only goes up to 12.
Yes.
It's a T12.
Yes.
You have a T13.
Yes. Which 13's my lucky number.
Uh-huh. Yep. It's your favorite number, your lucky number. Yeah. You love 13. And to find out that you have a 13th is like yay! Like you won the lottery or something. It was pretty cool. He said it doesn't do anything. It has no negative connotations for you. It doesn't affect anything. It's just that you have an extra one.
Yeah, it's just an anomaly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Curiosity, whatever.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you did really well of handling that situation, but I could tell that you, even back in the ER, you were having a rough time.
Yeah.
Not just because of the pain, but because of all things involved.
Yeah, I was pretty frazzled.
Yeah, but I'm really proud of you because you did a great job. You answered what you could. You asked for help from me when you needed it.
Yeah.
And you stayed there. You got x-rays, and what they found is that no broken bones.
Yeah.
An extra vertebrae, and they said that you had a pulled or strained back.
Yeah.
And for you to come back if it doesn't begin to resolve.
Right.
They gave you muscle relaxers, they gave you Advil to take. So you've been pretty miserable since then.
Yeah.
And I think that it's time for us to take you back to the doctor.
Yeah. I agree.
Right.
I agree. It has lessened a tiny bit, but it's still very painful. So I agree.
Okay. So, let's do that tomorrow.
Okay.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah.
The reason I say tomorrow, I mean, if you need to go today, we can make that happen. The reason I'm saying tomorrow is because when we were walking into your appointment that you had, I don't even know. How many times have we been through that door? I went to a medical center with you.
TMS.
Went to this, which is the magnetic therapy.
Yes.
Your last visit.
Yeah.
I'm looking back. I'm holding the door open for you because when we go there...
No, you're pulling the door open to hold it for me.
Yes, so that you could go through without touching anything. Because I'm more comfortable using hand sanitizer than you are.
Yes.
So I hold the doors open for you. You go through. Then we get up there and I, use the hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
So we're walking in, talking... I'm opening the doors, the big, huge glass doors.
Yeah, with the metal top and bottom.
Yeah, with an offset handle, so it's not like a regular doorknob, like that location. Right. So I'm wearing flip-flops.
Yeah.
Because it's hot out.
Yeah.
I open in the door, turn around and look at you.
You pivot to look at me.
I pivot to look at you because I'm holding the door open for you. And we were just talking. I don't remember what we were talking about, but we were in the middle of talking about something. We
were saying, you said, are you in any pain right now?
Oh.
Are you in any pain right now? And you go right over top of your foot with the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gouged it. And
then you saw it. Oh, it hurt so bad. And then you saw it and you went, ugh! Like that. And then we both were looking at it, and then that's when it
started to pull blood. Yeah.
Yeah. All over the place.
Yeah.
So, right.
You went back to the car.
I told you, go to your appointment. Because we were right on time, so go to your appointment.
Yeah. You went back to the car, you left a blood trail. Literally, you left a blood trail. And, I went up there, got someone to come out with me to see you with a first aid kit. And she's like, "Do you want for me to clean it out with the alcohol?"
And I said, "No way, no way." Yeah. But it just, I knew when it happened. It's deep. It's long.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to have to get stitches.
Yeah, which you did. You got 5 of them, right?
Yeah, it looks like I should have probably had at least 7 or 8. Because the top of it, see right there?
Oh,
up
yeah.
There?
Yeah.
Yeah. It did. It could have used a few more. Because since then, it's
Yeah.
that part's been bleeding still.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so
And
yes.
how did that make you feel?
How did that make me feel? That I have done some klutzy things in my life. That was one of the most painful
Yes.
that I've ever had.
Yeah.
And they said it's because the top of your foot has so many
Nerve endings.
nerve endings, and now it's
It's not as swollen now.
right.
It doesn't look like Nana's feet.
It's all black, purpley, and from my toes to my ankle. It's strange, but anyway. So I say that I'm walking better every day.
Yeah.
So I put my little sock on, and I'll take you back to the doctor tomorrow.
Okay.
Since you're still hurting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. But so through all of this, what I'm wondering about is that I don't know how anybody else feels when they get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how anybody else feels when they get hurt. But it seems to me that there's so many things that are affecting you other than just the pain.
Yeah.
When something happens.
Yeah. One thing as a side note is that I'm I think it's called empathetic when it comes to pain. If I see an injury, I can feel it with me.
Mm.
Like, I can, as if it had happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
To a lesser degree, but yes. Like, let's say it's a broken bone or something like that.
Oh, you just got the chills. You just yeah.
But so that's just another aspect of me, is that I understand that, but it's so. I'm not saying I hurt more than other people because I don't know how other people feel.
Right.
But it's from what I've gathered over the years is that I react more to pain than other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. And also the thing that I've seen when you were at the store after this happened, and both times that we were at the emergency room, you hear every sound, and the light is too bright for you.
Yeah.
And you should keep your head down so you don't have to look at it. And other things that people are doing, you notice every sound, every shuffle, every noise that someone's making. When somebody comes out of the emergency room, it makes a click and the door opens.
Yeah, it has a beep and then it clicks open. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're taking everything in, and by the time we got back to the bed there in the ER, you were exhausted. And so I guess what I'm saying is that, when people are in pain, they can react differently.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't just the pain of your back that you were dealing with.
Right.
Because autism doesn't go away because you have to deal with something that's not related to autism. Right. It's not like it goes, okay.
It doesn't take a back seat.
Right. It does not.
It's captain of the ship.
And so, even that's why we had to leave. That's why we had to leave the first day.
Yeah.
Because it got overwhelming for you.
Yeah.
And it's not going to help you at all if you get to a point that you're so agitated you cannot stay in that situation any longer.
Right.
So even though you were in extreme pain, the sensory issues were on high alert and you could not overcome that.
Right.
So that's why we went back the next day.
Right.
And it's just interesting that people there were very nice and kind. You weren't with me when I went in. She came out and your dad took me to the ER, and then your dad came to get me and take me to the ER. And then the nurse came out, and he went up there, and he told her something, and she comes back, and she goes, "You're bleeding all over my waiting room?" I said, "Yeah, sorry." So she wrapped it up again, and then took me straight into the back so I could
Yeah.
Keep it, because I was in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk. So anyway, it's just funny that but they were just very, very nice, and that was at Langley Air Force Base.
Yes.
Yeah.
The hospital there. Yeah.
Right. So you were put on a muscle relaxer. You were put on Advil 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
And does it help?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
Okay. The other thing that I wanted to mention on right now, just because I'm thinking about it, is that we're going to take you in tomorrow and follow up again, have them maybe take more X-rays, see if there's something else, or just see if it's going to take more time.
Okay.
But you just had your antidepressant changed.
Yeah.
From the doctor that we had seen up in Williamsburg.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you, are you feeling any effects so far?
Yeah.
For the positive or negative?
Yeah, for the positive.
Yeah. Any side effects?
No.
Okay. So you had that gene test done, and the gene test showed that the medication that you've been on is not ever going to work as effectively as you need it to.
Right.
It could not be at a therapeutic level.
Right.
Because of your genes, because of the way that it's going to process, metabolize, and so she did this test and then put you on a new one. So it's a lot of change recently. So medication change. You finished up your TMS, which you were going to talk about that. We're going to do a whole podcast on that. But
okay.
But you have a new antidepressant that you're on. You stopped. You were on Zoloft. You were on Wellbutrin, and you don't take those,
right.
And you were put on this new one.
Yeah.
Prestique.
Yeah. Prestique.
Is it Prestique?
Yes.
Prestiq.
Yes.
And they didn't carry it, but the doctors worked with one another along with the pharmacist. I requested that to your family doctor that she puts in a request to carry it for you. The pharmacist reviewed that, and they got it in for you.
Yeah.
And it's just such an amazing experience, and I'm so appreciative of this. How when the medical professionals work with one another like this in order to help you to have the best possible outcome.
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful for that.
Yeah, me too.
I also know that you have said and I used some oils with you, and you smell nice after I use the oils on you. But you've been okay with me doing it. I put it on your back.
Yeah.
The Panaway is something for pain, and I put it with some virgin olive oil. Rub it on your back, and it does help. So I know that I think that's so cool that you're open to some, holistic treatments.
Yeah.
It just makes me so happy. So anyway, is there anything else that you want to say about what you went through here? Because that was an awful lot.
Yeah, I wanted to reiterate what you said earlier, that if you get hurt, ask for help. That is such a huge thing, because if you don't know what you're doing and you're in pain, it's best to get help if you can.
Right. Yep.
So that me calling you and me getting help from the associates really made the outcome a lot better than it could have been.
Right. Yes, I agree. And you didn't quite know what to do. And so you did the right things. You called me, where I could help you until I could get there, and then could really help you.
Yes.
And then you spoke up and asked for help for the people that were there.
Yes.
So seriously, I know that I've already said this, but I just really want for you to know how proud I am of you that you did that. You were in pain, dealing with the other issues that you typically deal with, because I think what I'm talking about is that, and I want to make it clear, is that you leaving the house on your own can feel a bit of, you can feel a bit of anxiety. Driving the car, you can feel anxiety. Going into a store, having a list that we described is helpful, but it still creates anxiety for you.
Yeah.
Because you've got to find the things, buy the thing, is it the right thing? It's helpful if it's something you've seen over and over and over and over and over again.
Yes.
But if there's any kind of variation...
Or they're out of something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so when you go to the store, it's always at a time where I'm always available.
Yeah.
So that you can call multiple times when you're there if you need to.
Yes.
To
clarify things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you're already at a heightened level when you're doing what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And to get hurt in that process, and for you to handle it the way that you did, I just I'm just so proud of you for doing that, and that it's possible. You know what I mean? Because I know I've said this before. We haven't said it in a while, but doctors have told me that you would never drive, that you could never even go to mainstream school, you could never have friends, you would never, and well, I fired them, but they, but I'm just saying that it's just always, just, like fills me up when I just see you
succeeding.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So, good job.
Thanks.
Good job. I'm very, very proud of you. So, I think that covers today's podcast. our injuries and our technical issues, and we're back. We're happy to be back, and So, anyway, I'll take you to the doctor tomorrow. Today, if you need to.
Right.
For sure. We don't have to wait till tomorrow. We can go today if you need to.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Easier for my foot. I was thinking probably tomorrow. Give it another day.
Yeah.
But you just let me know.
Okay.
But anyway, good job. I love you. I'm proud of you. And everybody, thank you so much for listening. We really, really appreciate it. And I cannot remember what we had asked about in the beginning of this podcast. But if you've listened to it and we ask you about something to let us know, whatever that was, I can't even remember what it was. Elbows, yes. If you have any idea why that happens, please let us know. That's wild. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a easy time of life. You're safe and healthy and happy. And we're so grateful that you're listening to us. And we'll talk next time. Love you.
Bye.